who through faith and patience inherit the promises. I want to challenge you to do something that I think is incredibly uncomfortable for you to do. I want to challenge you to really think about this week who you would say to follow me as I follow Christ. Because if you're comfortable with that, that's awesome. I want to affirm that. But if you're uncomfortable with that, I want to challenge you. That is the message. That is the sign. I'm so glad that we have, as we've been working on becoming more engaged with our community, and we have these t-shirts, ACF Caring for Our Community, but I wonder if they shouldn't say on the back, follow me. And for that reason, if they shouldn't say on the back, follow me. Because I know some people are going to get irritated by it. I know they'll get offended by it, but because it's so not American, it's so not like us to say, follow me. Unless we're trying to make money, unless we're working a business plan or something. We could focus, Ephesians 5:3. We could focus. Now, I'm telling you it's in there. There is a way that following Christ frees us from, He frees us from immorality and uncleanness and vileness and lying and corruption and all these other things. But if those things become your focal point, I don't know that you're going to do real well at getting free. And what I think I could say is, here's what I don't think can happen. I don't think loving Jesus and getting rid of immorality, they don't have to be the same thing. You can be focused on the morality and wind up not loving Jesus at all. You can actually succeed at becoming a more moral person, but that might not be loving God. And what I believe, our life flows through loving God and loving people. It doesn't flow through doing right things. So I know that if I love God and love people, that is the opposite of that, over on the other side of, and opposed, is the immorality, is the unclean thoughts, the thoughts in my head, my motives that are all corrupted and pure. It's greed, and it's sinful, and it's filthy and foolish and coarse and not fitting. But listen to it. Look at the end of that verse 4. So he gives this list, and I think we could get lost in that list and get bummed out at this list because we know where we were this past week, and some of us maybe it wasn't so good. Fornication, uncleanness, covetousness, let it not be even named among you as is fitting for the saints. But when they survey the church, it seems to me what they keep saying, and I'm just telling you, sometimes I want to punch George Barna in the face. Because I wonder who are you talking to and everything. Is that even possible? They talk about these radically large statistics about immorality in Christian churches, and I'm like, what? But I have learned, I've been around the track a few times, and I have learned that people carry secrets. And those secrets sometimes, that's where that stuff lives. That stuff lives in secret land. Where the other me, the intended me, doesn't want to do that. But the real me still does stuff. Neither filthiness nor foolish talking nor coarse jesting, which are not fitting. And so my point, I have to be true to the text, I have to say those things. And I have to acknowledge and affirm they're not right, they're not appropriate. But listen to what he says, but rather giving of thanks. And I just want to tell you, it's an infusion of life in your spiritual life when you get thankful. You can overcome a lot of things without understanding a lot of things by getting a grateful heart to God and people. Like I said, I don't understand medical things, but there's these things called stem cells. And people are fascinated with stem cells because apparently they are like master cells that can recreate life in things that are stuck and aren't living properly. And so we understand that sometimes science does some funky things like embryonic stem cells, and so we're not always clear about what that means, and the morality and the ethic of should you use cells from an embryo, and blah, 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 and that kind of thing. And I'm not trying to talk about those things, but what I'm telling you is in your Christian life, to see Jesus is like a stem cell. Gratitude is like a stem cell that comes in, and so you say, I'm stuck with my morality, and I'm saying, lift your eyes off it. It's the devil's trap to keep you focused on your immorality, because you really generally don't get free by saying, I'm immoral, so I just sit there and I go, bam, why do I have to be immoral? Why can't I stop being immoral? I hate you, immorality. I kick you, immorality. I rebuke you, immorality, but I'm still looking at nothing but the immorality, or nothing but the filthiness, or nothing but the brokenness, when I believe you can get much more freer, much more quickly by getting your eyes up and on Him, and not down on those things. It's not that it's not in the Bible, it is in the Bible. But how many ever tried really hard to get free of something you were focused on and didn't do so good? So that I'm just telling you. So it's a God, and He's worthy of our focal point. And I think I admit it, I want us to so do our callings, yours and mine, and the way they mix. And I want us to go through the effort of merging them better and connecting them better, because I believe the community will see Jesus. But the truth is, if I bait you by telling you how great it's going to be, and I think it really is going to produce fruit, but the truth is you do it for Jesus, and if you don't do it for the right reason, you're not doing it. If I give my body to be burned but have not love, I'm nothing and it profits nothing. What does that mean? I believe it means you can do the right thing but not get the right result because you had the wrong motive. You weren't doing it for Him. And if Him, Jesus, doesn't inspire me or you, why doesn't He inspire me? Is He as awesome as we say He is, or isn't He? And if He is that awesome, why doesn't that jazz me up and get me moving? And that's where I got to dig in and figure out what is going on in me that this amazing God doesn't turn me on. And if you have to have, I can show you a quick way to make $50,000. You can do it in a week. Just say yes to Jesus' call. And you go, ooh. There's a line. It's posted. There's a bigger line. There's cars. Oh no. We need to send a parking crew to get out there and just keep the cars moving and everything. Maybe. Maybe not, because they wouldn't believe. But if they believed it, Jesus is better to me. A verse that I loved by faith for a long time was that His word is better to me than thousands of shekels of gold and silver. And I would believe that, and I'd say, I'd quote that verse to God and say, God, I believe that's the truth, but boy, I admit it, I want some shekels. because they do what I need done right now. But I believe it's the truth. You're telling me the truth. Your word really is better than a pile of money. It really would be stupid to take a stack of money and to have the call and just say, it's here or here, you can't grab both, run to one. It really would be dumb to run after the money. But we can't see it here. But 100 years from now, you'll see it. And then it's too late. So, I'm going to invite you to do something. You can do it yourself or you can do it with us. I'm going to do another YouVersion group. Okay, I sent out an invitation to those that are already part of YouVersion. And I wanted to show it to you in case you're interested, in case you want to know. Okay, so that little picture of the Bible there in the upper center, that's what the app looks like. If you got the right one, that's the app. Okay? So you can go to mybible.com if you don't have a smartphone, but you do it on your computer, and you can become a member, which is free. I'll take donations, but it's free. and then you can join, and you could be part of a group. And this particular group is a 7-day plan that I want to do this week, starting tomorrow. And it's a Francis Chan plan. And it's a plan, disciple-making materials for the ordinary person. Now, how many of you think you might be the ordinary person? Okay, so so I think this is really, really good, because now where sometimes I think I may not make sense to some people is I'm generally willing to make myself uncomfortable in life to get where I'm supposed to go. I've walked away from pain enough, I've avoided things enough, so it's not like I'm perfect at all about that. But I really don't like the results of giving myself a pass and then paying the price later. I don't like that. I would rather just deal with stuff. And so I am willing to be direct. And I'm frankly, I'm admitting to you that I'm looking at my life and I'm saying Paul's life as a disciple maker, I think, leaves something lacking. And I want that to change. In my life, I want that to change. And I think there's possible that some of you, maybe all of you, maybe not, could see that, you know what? That's worthy of my attention. It is worthy of my focus to get better at this. Could I? Should I? Because I believe that when Paul says, I urge you, imitate me, I think, what if we could get that comfortable with that same statement? In a healthy way, the healthiest version of that statement, what if we could get comfortable with that statement? What if a 10-year-old in this church could get healthy, comfortable at a 10-year-old level with that statement and go to school with that? Could that change somebody's life forever? I know it could. What if a person going to college could get comfortable with that statement? I know the problem is I know people are going to mock them. I know people are going to make fun of them. But I also know if it's healthy and if it's right and if it's Jesus, somebody's going to notice. Somebody's going to come under conviction. And somebody's going to respond to Jesus because Jesus just showed up at their school. Jesus just showed up at the workplace. And I don't have a biblical explanation in my years of Bible reading. I don't have a biblical way to explain away or to give myself a pass on making disciples. I don't have a way to do it. I don't think it's in the book. But what I think is in the book is that you and me are called to love God and love people. And if we'll focus on Him and saying yes to Him, something is going to happen in somebody's life, and something's going to happen in our lives. I know it's going to have challenges in it. Like I've said a number of times now, I've said, that we followed God and built the building. But I've also said, and I think I hold the record for complaining about it. And I don't think anybody here is contesting that. So, and I'm thankful to survive it. I'm thankful to enjoy it. I'm thankful to appreciate it. I'm thankful for the people that saw that in me and pushed past that in me. Saw my weakness, appreciated that I was obeying God, appreciated, could understand that I was struggling because I was in over my head, all this other stuff, and somehow we got through all that. And I love the fruit of it. But I don't know if it would have been right or enough for me if you could have showed me the fruit of it and had that be the motivation. He is the worthy motivation. He is. And if you can't say, I urge you, to somebody, some version of your language version of, I urge you, imitate me. As I imitate Jesus. Follow me as I follow Jesus. Then I'm saying we want to, don't accept that from yourself. Don't accept that answer. That's not right. God wants you and me to take a bunch of people with us to heaven. part of that path is I urge you. In Christmas, we say Jesus is the reason for the season. And then he goes through this list, which again is in the Bible. Again, he's saying the things he just said, kind of. No fornicator, unclean, not covetous. And sometimes you may wonder if you're one of those that has a secret struggle, or maybe not so secret struggle with anything, whether it's in the morality or motives or covetous or idols or things like that. Empty words, empty life, all those other things. When he says, love God and love people, he's telling us, he's telling us that together we can do this. He's reminding me, I don't do it alone. I do it with others. More than you and I might realize. The supply of grace all comes from God, but significant grace comes through people to you, not just through the prayer closet to you. The vibrant connection that releases the body to function appropriately, like your body works properly, because the joints and the nerves and all the things are supplying so you can feel, touch, and move and do. It takes a healthy connection. This is you. You were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of the Spirit, this is you, is in all goodness, righteousness, and truth, finding out what is acceptable to the Lord. It's you, it's me. When he tells us to have no fellowship with the works of darkness, but rather reprove them, it's in following Jesus, staying connected to Jesus and not letting the world diminish your capacity just because they say he's offensive. They've got a deal. They've got a deal. And you and I might have a bit of a storm to stand in because they've got a deal. Because if they're anything like I was, the first thing they do when they see a Christian is they pick on them. And then eventually they become one. I'm not telling you to go out and be irritating. I'm just telling you that Jesus is irritating. He exposes works of darkness. What do you think people that love darkness are going to feel? You think they're going to be thankful? They start out pretty grumpy because they have a love, but it's the wrong love. And then you walk in as a light bulb going, hey, I love you, I love people. I'm just trying to be authentic and real because we all say in the 21st century we love authenticity. I'm a light bulb. And they go, I hate that light because it's showing me I'm dark. But that's their call to come out. We can't avoid that stuff. I'm not saying we're great at it, and that's why I think you need fellowship at it, because I think we need pep talks. Whoa, it's getting tough at work. I think you need a pep talk. I think you need friends to hang in there and believe with you and pray for you, because it's hard to muster that alone, to just do your thing. But if we're ever going to redeem, he says, walk circumspectly. I'll paraphrase circumspectly to be with Jesus. Not as fools with Jesus, but as wise, redeeming the time, not wasting the time. I'll close with this thought. When I was and you were conceived in the womb, God knew exactly what he could do with you and wanted for you, and he knew the gifts he was giving you, just like he knew what he was giving me. I was born to Joe and Sarah Gamitter. Joe was an alcoholic, and Sarah had radical independence issues, and so that marriage didn't go so good. They had troubles. And eventually, when I was 6 years old, my mother left our family, left 5 children with an alcoholic father. That doesn't sound good because it wasn't. And it was shattering and destructive to me. And things went deep, and hurt went very deep in my heart and my life. But there came a point in my heart and in my life where I came to Jesus. Now, I'd be dishonest if I told you that fixed everything, because it didn't. It saved me. But I had things to work on. And as I worked on those things, now listen, redeeming the time, as I worked on those things, if there was a plan that God said, this is what I made Paul for, this is exactly what I made Paul for, and I drifted farther and farther away, but as I came to Christ and kept following Him and listening to Him, I began to slowly come back to that line, redemption, and then one day, pretty much, I'm on it. And where from the womb I was intended to go, I think I went. Redeemed. This is what I made you for. I made you to tell my story. I didn't make you to be a comedian. I made you to tell my story. I made you for me. And I know my love for God is imperfect. But it's growing. I can tell you today, my love for God is growing. And that is where I want to be. That's exactly where I want to be. I don't just want to do right, I want to be right with Him. And if the walk with God, that's why it was okay, even though I complained a bunch. Because I kept saying yes. Just kept saying yes. And eventually, it brings forth fruit. Let's stand together. I really am trying to live